The case of Don Hines, the U.S. tourist who left Belize in February, we couldn't actually identify the person being ill while he was here. So he left more than a month ago. That would be beyond the 14 days quarantine area. I mean, we have not been able to link anything as a result of that particular case. After the person recovers, she must be in quarantine for about another 2 weeks, right? It depends. What we would do is after your symptoms have subsided, is we would need to do another swab and determine whether you have in point of fact turned out negative. You would still be under quarantine after your swab turns out negative, and that can fluctuate. Some people will have signs and symptoms for on average 6 days. Some people can be up to 14 days. So yes, your quarantine could be anything from 14 to 30 days or even more. But that's determined once your sample has turned out to be negative. If somebody dies from COVID-19, how will their body be disposed here in Belize? We have checked because, and that's part of the plan and inserted element into the plan. We have not found that there's any specific issue that needs to be done with a body that somebody who dies out of COVID-19. There's no specific other than the necessary precautions in terms of can you have a wake and can you take the body and you'll be able to do that. And I know we don't want to talk about, but that's a reality we need to talk. We can say that there's not going to be a provision for people being kept in a morgue though, because once somebody dies, we anticipate that we are not going to be conducting autopsies, and we are also not going to be routinely allowing a body to remain in a morgue for an extended period of time. That's not that we don't envision that to happen. At what point do we decide if the country should go on lockdown and only essential services remain open? What criteria would determine this? That would be phase 3 of our plan, which means when you have transmission happening in 2 or more communities, sustained transmission. For right now, we have what we call an imported case. We have not documented any other cases. We have not documented that transmission is ongoing in San Pedro. And then if there's contacts of 4 that are positive, then you call that a cluster, which means one person and a cluster around them. Once you start having those persons infect others in a given community, then you can consider to have ongoing transmission in a specific community. For now, we have recommended that the island of San Pedro scale up in terms of the early closure of bars, restaurants, and that. Once it escapes to one community outside of San Pedro, then you consider a lockdown for other services across the country. But that would not be necessarily recommended right now.